the workplace impact of AI, a panel discussion with our presenters today and tomorrow. So kicking us off today was Marty Jackness from Opportunity Maximizers, bringing that great insights on maximizing AI and your mind. Then we had Jackie Gurney, who focused on leveraging AI technology for effective human resources. Then we just heard from Dan a few minutes ago about voice of the customer, how to combine human skills and technology to boost product success. And then tomorrow, we're going to hear from Reed. So hold on. He's going to talk about synchronized surfing. All right. So that'll be a lot of fun tomorrow. So with that, again, these are our panelists, Marty, Reed, and Jackie. Please do have your questions into the question, and we'll be taking those anytime you bring them up during this session. So we're excited to get started, and I'll give a brief intro of each slide, and then I'll ask a couple of the panelists to comment. And at any given time, if you want to ask a question on this slide or a different slide, please just put it in the chat and we'll fit you in. So the first question here is, again, the workplace impact of AI, the human factor in AI, and how it will affect the workplace. What are some of the top challenges of integrating AI in the workplace? So with that, we're going to start with Marty. Sorry. Marty will start us off, please.
Okay. Part of my speech is about enhancing our minds while we're trying to enhance AI and technology. And we have to create an environment where our teams are ready, willing, able, and desirous to change. And they have to look at it as a huge opportunity for them to survive and prosper going forward. So it's how we introduce the tool is going to be very important. And then how they can see that the tool is going to help them survive and prosper going forward. So it's an embracement process, and it's an understanding process of how you can be that much more efficient in what you're doing and growing your company that way. So to me, it's attitude, it's mindset, and it's introducing it not as a threat, but something that's going to help you survive and prosper going forward.
Thanks, Marty.
Yeah, hey, I'd agree with Marty on those points. I think the first thing is one of the challenges, we want to set the right expectations for the people in the company and the right expectations for the customers that we're going to be working with. Why are we doing this? What problem we're trying to solve, or trying to seize some kind of opportunity that we're not able to seize right now or make something better. And we used to say some executives would manage by in-flight magazine, right? Because they take a flight across the country, they read an article, and they say, that's what we need. We need it right now. I think the next challenge is timing.
To me, we need to treat AI like a tool. And if I don't know what a tool will do, I'm going to be in trouble. If I don't know, what channel locks will do or a crescent wrench, I need to understand that tool. I need to understand what I'm trying to accomplish. So I think there can be a little bit of a knee jerk. It's so popular. Reed, you mentioned this, it's in the in-flight magazine, let's go do it. Well, what are we doing? What are we trying to accomplish? So I think a good understanding of the limitations and capabilities of AI and a very clear picture of where we want to go are really instrumental as a first step on this.
Dan, I was in a situation where I was watching someone demonstrate. So imagine that you had to turn a screw into some wood, and all you had to turn it was a dime. And you're turning it and turning it. The more that you turn it, it's getting harder and harder. Your fingers are getting red and raw. And all of a sudden you hear a knock on the door, and it's someone holding a screwdriver, and you really appreciate it. But then he's doing the screwdriver, and all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and you have one of those automatic, screwdrivers.
Yeah.
So we're in a dynamic market. So there has to be an embracement process, almost a dating process. But what you're showing there is them understanding the consequences of embracing it or not. And they have very little choice at the end of the day. But I'd much rather, my mother said, always use honey before a stick. So I'd use honey first. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole resistance to change, this is a huge, huge change. And I know Reed's going to be talking about change management tomorrow, but when you're talking about people and dealing with people and the culture and getting them to do something different, it's a big challenge that we have to face.
So we do have some questions in the chat. So again, thanks for the great conversation. Keep it going. The best use of AI I've seen so far is guiding a user through a multi-step process, such as transferring funds between bank accounts. The worst is replacing humans in a help desk chat.
Yeah, I would say the latter is an absolute issue, because it's very frustrating to the customer from Dan's standpoint, and you're not thinking about the customer when you're having a bot try to manage the help desk.
I can't help but comment on this. Most chatbots are not AI enabled. They are all simple machine learning. They're not really using AI. So that is yet to come. So we'll see whether AI can help the chatbots out, I would say. But as it is today, 90% of chatbots out there are just simple yes/no algorithms, and that's why they're not working. So,
but there was someone that I was on with, and they were talking about rabbits, and they were talking about different characters that were rabbits, and the person said, well, this character was a hedgehog, not a rabbit, and the AI said, oh, you're right, it was a hedgehog, not a, so realizing that it isn't necessarily true what's being said.
Yeah,
right.
We're right. I think this is just pointing out that we're right at the precipice. Everybody's panicking. We're very early stages of using AI in a practical sense. So I think we have to be careful when we talk about AI taking over the world. AI is such a huge field. There's hundreds of applications. ChatGPT is just one of the thousands of applications of AI. AI is a huge field that we are just starting to learn about from a practical perspective. And we're going to have some wins and losses. And, over time, it will slowly get better or maybe get worse, depending on your perspective.
Jim?
Yeah.
It's sneaking up on us. I'm doing my book and I'm doing a lot of writing and dictating. And all of a sudden, when I take a look at my page, there's an underline here saying, Marty, you need a period here. Marty, I don't like this word or spelled. I go like this here. Then it gives me 3 different things it's trying to say I think I'm doing. And I've been taking it for granted, but it's making me much more productive and a lot less frustrated because it's there and it's working for me.
That's
one of the benefits, Marty. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm a little dyslexic, so it helps me quite a bit. So with that, I think we'll move on to the next slide if I can move, the benefits of integrating AI in the workplace. So we talked about the challenges. Let's now try to be a little bit more positive. With that, I'll ask Dan to start us off.
Yeah, so I think when we think about what this tool can do for us, it helps me to think of AI as going in a room with about 1 million coaches who have learned a lot already and asking, what do we know already, right? And so whenever we're in that situation, I think that the AI can be a really tool for efficiency and also for effectiveness. So we talked about in the presentation I gave, how it could cut down on the number of real person customer interviews we have to do, because there's already a lot out there that we've learned that we can learn through ChatGPT and other AI tools. So I'm efficient if I can use that first, so I don't have to do as many. but can also make me effective. If I'm not very good at spelling or something else, it can be also helpful there. But I think it's also, maybe I don't want to get too far ahead of this thing, but I think we also have to recognize ChatGPT is really good at giving us, or I'm sorry, AI is really good at giving us answers. It may not be really good at asking questions.
Yeah.
And that's where the human element comes in.
Okay.
AI is good at looking back and saying, here are the answers to what we already know. Where human interaction is powerful is saying, what are the questions? Where do we want to go next? And AI is not there today for that.
And to your point, and how to use ChatGPT most effectively is asking it the right questions. Then you're going to get good output. If you don't ask it good questions, you're not going to get good output.
Right.
So Dan, I have found that I could put into ChatGPT, what are the questions I should ask
Ooh,
on da 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 da,
Yeah.
and
It's not
it
bad.
will give me questions. Now, I can't take them as the real questions I want necessarily to ask, but it likes to give you answers, regardless of whether they're good or bad.
You're making a really good point, but the questions you're asking are about what's already known. So when I talk about questions, I'm talking about where are we going as a human race next? What's that next innovation? That's where, so yeah. That can be
or questions based on the answer you just got to the previous question.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. As in your presentation, you talked about, it's, well, okay, I got the why. Now I have to go with the what or the who or whichever, right?
Yeah, the element of creativity that we still have as humans as a bit of an edge.
In HR, I mean, I think we are way ahead of the game for being able to use programmatic recruiting in the recruiting process. It does things we could never manage on an hourly basis, moving our ad from one job board to another because it wasn't performing as well, or analyzing that data and saying, this is good, this is bad, and keep having it move, or it's nighttime now in the West Coast, I better not ask. I need to take it from a West Coast place to an East Coast or whatever. Those are things we just cannot manually handle.
well, the thing I talked about earlier about the haystacks from here to Mars, AI, I welcome AI to go look through that stack for me and to go and pull out the gems that Dan and I would want, that sort of thing. So there's things that were heretofore impossible that we can do now very, very quick with letting that tool do things that we just either don't want to do or certainly can't do.
Right. The amount of, when we talked about succession and the benefits of succession, looking at stuff past history, all sorts of things from each individual, and then comparing it to the job requirements. Again, it's a monumental task for succession HR people to deal with all that. So when Dan said effective, yeah, much more effective to have somebody.
I'm going to throw out a
question
read related to this. I'm looking through this list, which is a compilation of a lot of different research, and I don't see change management on here. How is AI going to help change management, Breed?
Well, I think it's going to help change management is similarly to how it's going to help a lot of other things, and that's also kind of I guess kind of like what Dan was saying, taking advantage of what we already know. It's the leveraging of data, because whether we're going to be working with change that has to do with a reorganization or technology or something else, is the leveraging of data. I read that like 98% of the data in the world was created or collected in the last 2 years, and something like 1.7 meg of data is created for every person on Earth every second, right?
Yeah.
So we can't possibly process and do anything with that amount of data. We can't even access it, but good apps can, and they can help us process and recommend decisions based on environmental variables that we might not be considering. I think that's one of the big factors in organizational change is understanding context. And I think that there's a lot of cases where AI could help us understand the context of the environment we're in better and help us make more effective decisions about the path forward.
So I'll
Reed,
throw this.
Reed,
Oh, go ahead, Jackie.
Reed, couldn't it also help in the tracking of results based on and who's doing it and who isn't doing it? Because as we talked about during my presentation, the big problem is often you make a change, but they don't change, or they change, but they go back and to where the way they were doing it.
Right, and you're right. We've seen a lot of times when people have the best of intentions, but it's like in anything else. I mean, Marty used the example of trying to lose weight, but then slipping a little bit. But and there's a lot of AI out there that's becoming predictive, and that's giving you likelihood of recidivism in different cases. And so we could use new applications or maybe some stuff that's out there now to help us understand, okay, what is it about a situation that's going to maybe slow a change down from taking root or help it stick better, and then act on those things. It might not always be right, at least not the first time, but it keeps getting better, so we can keep trying.
Jim?
So if I could just add in here, and then we'll go to you, Marty. Something came to me as you're speaking there, and that is, change management is convincing people to do what they don't want to do, but make them feel good about it, as if they did it themselves, right? Do you guys agree with that? To somewhat? No?
I think there's a case for that, yeah.
Yeah, so, well, my question is, if you put AI in that equation where you want to change, this is positive, this is all change for the positive, not for the negative. But you put AI in the middle of that, it gets scary. So people are getting scared. So what from a change management perspective can we do to address that fear that is authentic?
Well, I think, first of all, you're right. People are going to be scared for a lot of reasons. That's one of the things I'll be talking about tomorrow. But I think the very first thing is helping people understand, first of all, acknowledging that yes, that there's fear. Fear is legitimate. There are reasons why people are going to feel the way they feel, and don't discount that. But also help people understand their role in the change and whatever change is coming, whether it's a new technology or whatever. What's their role going to be? And let's be honest. Sometimes people aren't going to have a role. That's the way the world works. But we can help prepare them for their next role, and we can give people as much of the benefit of transparency and openness and honesty as we can, so that they're not surprised down the road. But ideally, we're preparing them for their next role, so that as change happens, they're part of it. They're invested in it, and they benefit from it.
Beautiful, Reed. Thank you.
Jim?
Yeah.
One other thing, safety, improved safety.
Safety
I think
is a great example. Yep, it is.
Is because it can read what's going on on the shop floor and say, wait a minute, this could result in something very bad. Mm-hmm. It can also read faces and with and tones of voices, and to try to keep things from
you nailed it.
Getting out of control.
We actually have a partner who specializes in that. One of our partners does that, exactly that, especially in heavy industry environments where you have a lot of machinery moving around, behavior tracking. They have built AI systems that can be embedded in there. So DSS. So EIG does have partners to help in any of these different areas throughout. So to keep that in mind, but that is probably an area that we're going to see it sooner than later, to your point, Jackie. Marty, did you have some comments?
Yeah. Well, many years ago, when I was at IBM, one of our customers met me in New York, and he pointed to a 40-story building and said, when, not if, but when we can put a gigabyte of memory on a chip, half that building won't be there. It won't be necessary. All those people, all that furniture, all that overhead is going to be gone. And they'll save a lot of money. But at the same time, more than that, if they understand that's going to happen in the world, why don't we, if they take a look at the new technology, what you can do with that chip, they can take what takes them 7 days to produce a policy for someone and do it in a day or maybe a few hours. And if they implement it faster than the 2 years that people were taking to implement, ideas, we can have a 2-year lead and dominate our markets. So we need visionary thinking like that guy. He really impressed the heck out of me that he was looking at this little thing and what it meant here. And then AI obviously can accelerate that and help us do those things. But I don't know if AI would even have to ask that right question and look at, most people wouldn't look at it that they will save some money, but he went the next step. I can dominate my market. Yeah. And that's exciting when you take a look at, because that chip is what made him think about it. But it's I love that thinking. And I think we have to do that way to have AI work with us and for us rather than us for it.
Absolutely. Anyway. Great point. So we do have some questions in the chat. So I do want to get to at least one or two of these. So there's a question that says, please comment on AI and enterprise productivity. Amazon does a lot of tracking of productivity, but it seems destructive of morale, I guess. Reed, you're bobbing your head up and down. It sounds like you've heard this.
Well, I'm just thinking about any other case where Amazon or anybody else has started measuring something, and initially the response is yeah, people don't like that whole Big Brother feeling. So I can certainly understand why that would be damaging to morale anytime, because people are going to start thinking, well, what's the outcome going to be? Is the outcome going to be, hey, Reed's not doing his job well enough or fast enough, so we have to replace him? Or is it going to be, oh wow, it looks like Reed needs help with something. Let's make sure he learns how to do it better so he can be more effective. And I think the approach that the company takes makes a big difference. Having people understand the intention, assuming it's a positive intention, and then following through on that. As a leader, you can make your people, your team, more comfortable with that sort of thing. But it could be really, really bad, really difficult for people, and very bad for morale, right? If
yeah,
then you find out, oh wow, I'm being watched by a machine that's going to tell me how to do things better. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in a little bit, Hal, a little bit, Reed, it could be Hal saying, Dave, you need to pick up your pace a little bit here.
Exactly.
But it was interesting that the research that was done showed that 64% preferred to be told by an AI that they needed to do something different than a human, which maybe it's they won't take it as personal. But I think that as we go through change, there are always going to be some, I'm going to go live in the woods and off the grid because they're coming to get me.
Yeah.
They're all of that kind of thinking, and we're going to always have that. I don't know that we'll ever get away from all of that in change.
Excellent. With that, I think I'll just move to the next slide if I can. Where is AI ahead of humans, and where are humans ahead of AI? So let's see who we teed up for this to start off with. Was that somebody just go ahead and take that?
I can maybe jump in.
Yes.
You know, AI is wonderful looking at amounts of data that humans can't even begin to approach of what's already known. And also AI is getting pretty good at looking at pattern recognition. I mean, humans are amazing at pattern recognition, but there's a number of examples now that we've seen where AI is able to see some patterns that have been missed by humans, maybe because there's so much data, but it's getting better and better at that. But the thing that you know, I think sometimes we could miss is the human engagement factor that AI won't have. Let's imagine we get to the point where AI can easily pass the Turing test. I'm having a conversation with somebody, you know, about my, you know, what I want to see improved in my job to be done. Okay. I don't know, you know, if it gets to the point where they pass the Turing test, and I'm not sure if it's a human or a machine asking me these questions, I think I'm going to want to see a web camera. And I think I'm going to be a lot more responsive if I see a real human asking these questions, because that's what we do as humans. And so I think when it comes to the engagement factor, I don't see AI catching up anytime soon with that. We love to respond to other humans, tell them what we know and so forth. And I think that's an advantage that's going to be around quite a while.
Thanks, Dan.
I think in employee relations, Jim, humans are ahead of AI. AI cannot nuance the emotions and so forth, at least at this point.
Yep.
It may read faces, but it's, you know, I could be frowning about something because I'm thinking, and it might be interpreted that I'm mad. So I think that's one place that is really AI is behind humans.
Absolutely. Yeah, they still can't, at this time, they can't read our inner thoughts yet, right?
But when you're speaking, they have a new little thing you can put on your lapel, and you can be reading the audience's reactions to what it is. And so pretty much it's almost instantaneous when you're going up there. You're wondering, why are they getting up and leaving? And that's obvious, but before they get up and leave, you can know pretty quickly, you know, how they're buying into it or not. It's great technology, expensive right now, but I think it'll be a wonderful thing in the future. So you can read people that way too with AI.
That's a great insight, Marty. Thank you.
I think humans are ahead in a few things, and empathy is one. You know, like kind of like Jackie was saying, it's a human thing to show vulnerability and to create a connection. And you know, I think AI can learn to fake that, but it's going to take a while. But you know, that'll be something. You know, you hear stories about one of the chat applications having a chat where it says it's afraid it's going to be turned off, and that can invoke a human emotion. So that stuff can happen. Another area that is weirdly, I think, an area where humans are ahead is an irrational decision making. You know, everybody doesn't want to make database decisions, and so they want to make database decisions. They look at a bunch of data, but then time and time again, we'll make decisions that go against the data. Maybe it's we don't have enough or the right data, we don't know how to interpret it, but we seem to make irrational decisions. And sometimes they still aren't being good, but they just go against what the data says. And I think
that's our gut decisions. We
yeah.
talk about, oh, my gut told me.
Yeah.
Well, the gut is something we have that AI doesn't.
That's what we're saying.
That's
you
very
know,
insightful, guys.
To build on your point, Reed, you know, you can't get a patent unless it's new, useful, and non-obvious. So just think about that non-obvious part just a little bit. I mean, if it's non-obvious, you know, and AI is scraping what we already know, that kind of tells you that humans are probably going to be a little bit better at things that are patentable. Innovation is patentable.
Yeah. To your point, they say that we'll be starting to use our imagination more than we've ever used it before, and it's kind of untapped. because we're trying to get the mechanics of our day done, and we don't have time to sit back and actually use our imagination. So is this really the dawn of our imagination?
There's a
Well, that's right, because we we're good at AI is good at predicting some things based on data, but it can't. It's really hard to predict human behaviors and how humans are going to use things that come out. And that's like, I like to use the example. A lot of people, heck, the Jetsons had video teleconferencing, right? That was back in the 60s or 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
And so people knew that was coming, but I don't think anybody knew that some 8-year-old was making $100,000 a month by making videos of themselves unboxing a toy.
Yeah.
Or that Kim Kardashian could make $1 million a post for putting pictures up about her new jeans or her body slimming underwear or whatever. So, you don't know how people are going to use stuff, and AI doesn't know how people are going to respond to things. And I think that's humans don't really know, but I think we're a little bit better at it than AI.
Yeah. Great point. Anything else on this topic? This great discussion.
Yeah, there was a term I used called bumblebee moments. And scientists look at a bumblebee, says this bulky little creature with these tiny wings shouldn't be able to fly. Luckily, it can't read, so now we have pollination. And I had many things in my life happen. I didn't know. I needed to get money for a bank and whatever. And they said, Marty, you can't get unsecured lines of credit. I didn't know that. And I walked back with $250,000. Okay. But where I wake up at 3 in the morning and something wakes me up and say, hey, wake up. I want to share something with you. And between 2 and 4 in the morning, something is happening. I call them bumblebee moments, but I think it's really our intuition or our gut going a step beyond that. I think AI could.
And I agree. And I don't think most humans haven't explored enough of that in themselves. And once they do, I think they'll be happier for it.
Yeah.
So excellent discussion. So here's another question. How do you create and maintain a lead in areas where humans are ahead? And how do you close the gap in areas where AI is ahead? So
I guess the first question is, do we want to close the gap in areas where AI is ahead? They want to analyze all of the straw that Marty was talking about, hay bales. If they want to do it, go for it. I don't want to do that. So,
but we want their minds to be working better, our minds, so we can get more out of that. It's going to be there. And the other thing we have control of, at least today, is we can pull the plug.
well, now they say they can't. So
okay, I'm sure there might be all kinds of protections in there, but
no, but you would think you can pull the plug, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, right.
But I think Jackie's got a really good point. I don't know if you do want to try and catch up. I think a lot of jobs we do right now, they weren't even jobs, 5, 10, 20 years ago. My wife's a social media director. That wasn't even a thing. So I think we can start looking at new capabilities and new opportunities where humans have an innate advantage, and that's by using our creativity and using our individuality and developing whole new lines of work that no one had ever thought of before, and we'll have advantages there.
I think companies who are going to be successful with this will be looking at hybrid approaches in many cases. There will be a task or a job to be done, and both the human and AI will be working hand in hand, with AI doing some things for efficiency and effectiveness that the human would have a hard time doing, and then humans doing things with engagement and that spark of creativity that AI can't do. So yeah, there will be cases where there'll be complete replacement, but I think it's healthy to think about where did the hybrid approach allow us to go further than what we've been able to do on our own.
Excellent point. Any other comments on this
I
topic?
think that as we start looking at potential regulations that are going to come into being, we want to make sure in certain cases of interaction, for sure in HR, that people can opt out of talking to AI and go get a human to be able to talk to, right? And I think that's going to be important, and in keeping some of the regulations at bay, among other things.
Great point. So I'm going to go to the audience here and ask a question here. Let's see here. Well, this is kind of related. So we might have already answered this question. For the things that humans are ahead of AI, how long do you think it will be?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Maybe today.
Sooner than we'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
All
cat's out of the bag. Okay, let's put
That's
it that
out
way.
of the bag. All
But
right.
again, it's that, do we really want to do those things? I understand that we're going to have to reskill some people who were doing the jobs that AI does better. You know, the massive needle in the haystack, as Marty called it. But why would we want to do that? Wouldn't we want to see if we couldn't reskill those people to do something that's going to be more fulfilling than looking
Jackie,
for those needles?
Jackie, in the old days, when they started doing cloning, they want to put laws out so you can't clone human beings and have super races and stuff. But I know that a lot of people said fine, but in other countries, people are going to be using AI and tools in where it's not regulated, and so we either have to build countermeasures to it or try and. But it's a crazy world right now. So I'm just saying it's there. We better learn how to use it and also put defenses against people using it wrong, I guess. But it's very difficult problem.
It's too bad, Marty, that we have to regulate, but I can't imagine that it won't happen. We should be able to self-regulate.
Yeah.
But there are going to be people that don't use it for good. And, it's the same old thing. Somebody steals a pencil and you have to put a program in place that costs 10 pencils to keep that person from stealing the one pencil. And that's what it's going to be.
Good point.
But thinking about that question though, about how long, I think that's a good thing to think about, because some things that rely on either directly or indirectly faster processing of data and can be improved by faster processing of data to create predictability. Those things I think will be the AI will catch up or surpass us much faster. So what about logistics? What about distribution? Things that Amazon's good at. You need fewer and fewer warehouses if you can predict when people are going to order things, and if you have fewer warehouses, and there's fewer warehouse workers. So you think about distribution or logistics, those things. We would need to be ready for those jobs for some of those jobs to start going away because it's already happening. You have more automated warehouses. Okay, what about manufacturing? Well, maybe there's going to be more manufacturing jobs going away too, because more and more AI and technology can and
quite honestly, Reed, that technology already exists. One of our partners, Creatisoft, can already build the workerless warehouse and or manufacturing, reduce the number of employees dramatically at any facility if they were interested in moving in that direction. But what he's encountering is as he's implementing his systems, that they don't want to go very fast because they're worried about the human effort. So companies are not wanting to automate because they don't know how to manage this transition of a fully automated warehouse that is completely feasible today. So we are in that transition period where what do you do when you used to drive a forklift and now you don't need to drive a forklift anymore because they're all
Reskilling. We're going to have to do a whole lot of it.
It's just like we all used to be farmers, like you've said in the past, and they all knew how to use a plow. Now nobody knows how to use a plow. Some people don't even know what a plow is. So, as you said, it's a new it's a new revolution, like the Industrial Revolution. It's the AI revolution. Everything's going to change.
It's a tidal wave, Jim.
Oh, it's a tidal wave.
It's a tidal wave. And when we talk about manufacturing, we've all been in subtractive manufacturing, and now additive manufacturing is getting more and more, starting with prototyping, and it's going to be, so that's not AI, but that's part of the tidal wave, the technological tidal wave.
It is.
The trouble is AI they don't have morals yet, I think. And I know people who work so hard building a business and their family for 20 years, and all of a sudden when Amazon comes in, X number of businesses are going almost instantaneously. And if I value my employees, I love them. So what happens is I would see if there's ways that we can at least get their brains working better, keep them other things to keep them employed, or have a soft landing or something. So I'd love to see if part of that is without regulations, just let our moral compass try and help people in the transitions.
Marty. Unfortunately, some people are not moral.
Yeah.
But some are.
Some are, and that would be great if everybody were, but the laws and regulations and rules are not set for the moral people. It's set for the immoral.
Yeah, and Jackie would know better than anyone because you're in that's your world. Yeah, so I think if you're looking for who's going to lead in regulation, I think we all know it's going to be Europe. Europe is always more regulated than the US. So if you are looking to see what direction we will go in, but the US always, since it's a free market society, will never be as regulated as Europe. So, and then you have different type of regulations when you go to Asia and China, because it's a different government. I'll just say, I'm trying to be apolitical here. So but
it is political, Jim. We know that some parties are big government and some are small.
That's right. Yeah. And so the good thing about US, we're 50-50. So we're people might find us right now we're 50-50. We can't even elect a House Speaker.
Yeah, we can't even.
So we're very split. So, but that's healthy. We can't look at that as bad. That's healthy. The debate is healthy. In the long run, that's what makes America great, I would say. But I should stop talking politically. So maybe we move on to how do we differentiate your solutions that earn your customers' attention, employees, stockholders, and suppliers. So we'll end with.
To me, it has to do with money. Totally to do with money. It either my customers want a great solution that costs less, right? And that they don't care necessarily about the fact that I have to let employees go to automate to, because I'm in New York and my manufacturing plant can't operate we pay our employees more than in the Midwest. So
Great.
therefore, I've got to get AI involved.
And Jim, you know, we've got 5 decades of research now that says when a company develops a solution for its customers, new product, new offering, whatever it might be, that the number one reason they fail is they did not understand those customers' needs appropriately. And so I think this is where AI can support humans going and talking to their customers. That's the voice of customer he talked about. Talked about how you can have a hybrid approach where the AI helps you very rapidly know what's already known. But I think we got to get out there as humans and interact with our customers, engage them, probe deeply, and really understand what their needs are, and then develop solutions that meet those needs. But many companies are not doing that today, with or without AI.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like a question tailor made for a customer needs guy like Dan, because
yeah, it is.
right on the money. I mean, and that's also similar to the whole idea of human-centered design, right? You know, we have to understand how customers need, what customers need. We also have to understand, you know, as much as we can, how they're going to behave, and you know, what their context is, because what they might need now might be different than what they need you know, next month, and what they need in the summer might be different than what they need in the winter. But it's a human-centered design and voice of customer are I think the things that are going to let us differentiate our products and our services the most.
I think until we start selling to AI, I think you got it, Reed.
We do that? I want to sell to AI.
I believe up to this point in time that customers and prospects don't initially care about us, our companies, our products, or our services.
Absolutely.
They initially care about the outcome and benefits from those is what they want first. And if they're significant enough, then they're going to want to go down and say, okay, why are you different and better than the others? And when I look back at things and people who are successful with that logic, once you go there, all of a sudden the door opens and you have your chance to really differentiate. And if you have it, you know, you're there. But that's the driver, is they don't care about anything else but what's in it for them initially. Then they want to go down, and we have to prove to them where and why we're different.
It's their unmet needs and what you can deliver over what they have today. Is that right?
At a cost that allows them to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, any other, this is your baby, so but you have the final word.
No, I will close with this. The good news is most companies are doing a terrible job of this. I don't have time to go into all the research, but especially B2B companies are doing an awful job. Now, why is that good news? That means there's great potential. There's nothing else, especially a B2B company can do, that's going to drive that profitable, sustainable, reliable growth that starts to do a better job of understanding their customer needs. So it's pure upside. So that's the scenario I would invite everybody to look at. Bring AI along to the party, but we got to understand what those humans we call customers really want, and then we'll work on the right solutions.
With that, I think that was a great way to end today's session. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in today for the presentations. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do follow up with any of the presenters or myself, and we'll hook you up with them. And thanks for the panelists today. What a great conversation. I think we probably could sit back with some martinis and some other drinks and keep going into the night on this. So if you want to meet us at the bar, no, just kidding. But fantastic discussion. Really enjoyed it. This is the way we at Enhance International Group work. We work together, collaborative, to address your issues. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow in tomorrow's session, where we'll kick it off with Reed and then into Hosni with the digital twin, digitizing the world. And then we'll get into how to digitize your office with excellence, and then their panel discussion, which will be a little bit more technical for the technical folks. But the human side of AI, that's where it's at. We got to get this right before any of that technical stuff is going to work, right? Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.